Alrighty, here is the video. Let me make sure I get up the internet and get everything, so I go over everything. This will take me just a second. I'll make sure I go over everything you was asking about. Let's see. Okay, you wanted to know about existing models. Your models wouldn't come in correctly. And then you wanted to know about the coin. Okay, so basically, in the creature template creator, I'll show you two versions you're going to see. You're going to see their version, you're going to see my version. My version looks a little bit different because basically I rearranged this entire method right here. And I do it because on items butchered, I create my own little array and put it up here to get it off of here. Because if you add this line here, it's just going to stretch your string out even longer, and I don't want that. So basically what I do is I create a new integer array, and let's go to the original creature template creator and we'll look how they do theirs. It's all in one string. So if we take this one for example, it's in this long string, and I'm going to go up here and I'm going to tell it to show self wrap, so it'll pull everything in front of the screen. This right here is basically what it is, you know, this array right here. So what you can do, and this is how I do mine, and I do all mine so whenever I open mine up, every time it's, as you can see, it always opens up just like this. I don't have to use soft wrap on my version, because basically I take all the sounds and put them on one line. I take a lot of the other parts of the creature, its attacks and everything, and they go on its own line, and then this little short part right here, size and all, goes here, and the start of the method right here, and it ends back here. So basically what I've done, as you can see, they got a new integer array, and this is the array in the ankle brackets, and this is what the creature can drop. And basically how it works is based on your butcher skill, based on the quality of your butcher or the tool you're butchering with, it takes both of those in consideration, then determines if you can get every one of these off, or whether you're just going to get a random maybe you get this right here, and you get this right here, and this one right here, but you don't get the other two or the other three, or you get one. And it's basically the system, the code that does this is based on a random system based on your quality of your knife and all. So that's why I like actually putting my coin here rather than setting a specific amount of coin, because basically every drake you kill, when whoever butchers it, you might not get all the coin. So when I add coin at the end of this array, the more items in here, the less you're going to get, unless you have, you know, a high quality butcher and a high quality knife, and then you'll end up getting pretty much everything off of it. But without that, at lower skill levels, you know, you don't get as much coin back. But basically what I do is I recreate this integer array, and I move it up here just like the integer array for types. They put types up here because they didn't want types right here. Otherwise, as you can see, they create an integer array, they call it types, and then they call types right here. Otherwise, you would see this new integer array right here, just like you see the butchered one right here. So basically what I do is I create another one, and I call it items butchered, and I just call items butchered in the place where that array would be. Therefore, I can get this string very long, or this array, I can have as many numbers in here, and I can push it out even further out here without it, you know, being pushing this line out longer. And basically my types arrays here, my butcher arrays here, and it looks nice and neat. And then I can turn around and put these sounds on one line, and, you know, just make it nice and neat. This is one thing you can do. But this is where your butchered coin would go. As you can see right here, This is an old version, as you can see, because 2067 was the ID for the Hellhound head, which I'm not modding that anymore. But from right here, before I even added taxidermy in, you can see this right here, these numbers here, 55 through here, these are the coins. And this is where, well, actually, I don't think 55. I know 50, it might be. This is where I ended up putting coin in here, and based on your butcher skill, you could get random coin off of it. If you got real high butcher skill and a good quality butcher tool, you'll get a lot of this off of it. So basically that's how it would work. And it works real well instead of having, you know, always a set amount. You're going to always get the same amount off. It's better, you know, to make people want to work for their skills to be able to get this instead of just handing it to them. So yeah, you can just basically create a new integer array, give it a name, and then turn around, equal it to a new integer array, and post in the items you want the mob to drop, a chance to drop, and based on their quality and all, you know, to go in there. And then all you got to do is just pass this name over here where the new integer array was. You just basically take this out and pass your name into its place. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, you talked about size. Ignore these right here. You're not going to see this. This is something I added to fix hellhounds and all from taking lava damage. I had to basically add this in the creature template creator and in the creature template, and I think I had to go in creature or creatures and add other code so I could call this new is hellhound or is hell scorpion, and then I had to add code in so they wouldn't take lava damage. And I'm going to show you a couple of things in this video besides this right here, where you can make it more nice and neat by just, you know, removing it, making your own integer array, give it a name, and then pass that name in here where it would be and make your code nice and neat. But you don't have to do this. You can leave it in here like that. You just basically add your items into this array right here. If you want to add new creature types, to change creature types, you can put them here. You'll notice in a lot of my creatures I give them creature type 7. Creature type 7, if you want to learn what your creature types are, you can always just go to creature types, and this right here is, of course, is the lurking fierce, but what you're wanting is from 0 down here, and you'll see number 7 is local, number 8 is global. The only mobs that actually have number 8 is, apparently I removed 8 out of the hellhound. I don't know why I did that. Might have been when I was testing something out. I removed a bunch of stuff I put in there, but basically 7 is local and 8 is global, and the actual only creatures that actually have global code is the dragons. I think it's the big dragons, maybe, or did they remove it, or was it just the gods? I think it was just the gods who had global code, and the gods were the only ones that would globally roam. Let me go through here real quick. Can't remember where they're actually at. But what global code does, in the movement for the mobs, there's 2 types of movement. One of them, the mobs would move. The gods, if I'm not mistaken, it's only the gods, allows them to move all over the map rather than just in one small area. Let's see here. Let me do this here. Yeah, see? Yeah, it's the gods. The gods had global code. that's what allowed them to roam globally all over the map anywhere. Um, and when a mob actually has this, it allows them to spread out even more. So you might want to use a lot of global code on a lot of your creatures in their types. You might want to add 8. Leave 7, but also add 8. So they'll also randomly go between global and local. But basically that's what you do. You know, you'd pass the coin and items that you want the mob to actually be butchered off of them into this array right here. Now, as far as okay, this right here is what you need. This piece of code. Whenever you create your creature, for example, I'll go to the end down here at the very bottom. And let's just say we're gonna, yeah, see here were my new creatures, my gray wolf and brown wolf. As you can see, basically what you need is this piece of information right here. Okay, as you can see, I actually put gray at the end and brown at the end, so I know it's a gray wolf and a brown wolf. But this information to get your models to show up properly in the game whenever you add a new creature like this, what you need to do, and let me open up. Okay, so basically you go into your worm, you find your worm unlimited. You know, I got a shortcut right here. You go in here, you go to your worm launcher, and you go to your packs folder. And in your packs folder, which I'm just going to go over here to art stuff so I can show you here, you got your mapping.txt. So basically you can use Notepad++. I love Notepad++ because it's better than regular Notepad. But basically in here is where you would add your stuff. So this one should still have it. So let me look for Hitch. Yep, okay, so here's all my stuff. So basically I got all my crap right here. As you can see, my furniture, my banners, all this stuff. So let's find the creatures. Those were all the boats. Okay, the creatures. Right here, as you can see, let me find the gray wolves. Since I'm right there on the code. Okay, right here we got our wolves. So basically you see this right here. Model creature.quadruped.wolf.brown and wolf.gray. That is this line right here. This is where you call the model. So whatever you have right here in your mapping.txt, you need to also have this line here, and then you have to equal it. And basically the way the textures work is you just tell it what folders it's in, and then I'll explain this a little bit right here in just a second. So basically we go back over here to art stuff, and we have told it to go in art stuff. So you know, whenever I have you open up, or when I have people put this in, they basically just drag my art stuff folder into their graphics.jar, and they drag the mapping.txt into the same thing. I put all my stuff in here. Therefore, people don't have to, and you don't have to go through and, you know, put it in their folders. You just create your own folder, create your own subfolders, and you just tell it over here you know, what subfolder. So basically the brown, it says art stuff / creatures. So we go in art stuff, then it'll go into creatures, and then in creatures it's going to go to wolf, and it'll look in the wolf folder, and then it'll say, okay, we're calling wolf main dot or underscore BP, so it's going to call this right here, this WOM model, and then it's going to say, okay, the reason this little piece right here is in here, okay, the reason this is in here is it's saying I don't want to use the texture that's built into the model. I want to use this texture instead, and it's going to be this texture right here, brown wolf 512. Where's that at? Right there. So it's going to use this texture instead. Each model has built-in textures from when its original texture before. Even floor textures have the same thing. And basically what you see here is there's this little code word called wolf mat or butchered 1 or spider mat. This is a little piece of code inside that model. Now you're going to ask me, how did I get that code? Well, I don't have a WOM converter, so I can't open that code here. But I have any existing model before they went to WOM. I have a copy of those already. So I can go over here to Art Decorations. Let me go back here one. And if I go to Creatures, where's my Creatures? And I go to Wolf. You can see these are the old DAE models. Now, Notepad++ can open these DAE models. Now, these DAE models can open up in, when they open up in a modeler, it's a little bit different. But if you open it up in Notepad++, I'm going to show you what you're going to see. You're going to see things that you normally don't see. Open it up in here, we get some code. Now basically this says image ID, call file name 2 dash image, name is equal file 2, and it's calling wolf512.jpg. This is the image that it's going to call. These are the default images in here, just like this right here, material ID wolfmat. This is where I get this from. When I want to change that material ID, I have to know this piece of information right here, wolfmat. This Lambert 2 is another texture, but this wolfmat is the main texture I need to change. So I can, as you can see right here, if I do not put this here, it's going to call the original texture right here, which is wolf512.jpg is what it's going to look for. But using this material ID name here, I can actually say this. I can do a question mark and I can say wolfmat dot texture equals this texture instead. And when it comes in here, basically when it goes in my folder, it's going to, when it comes over here, and it goes in my folder here, what it does is it looks in my wolf folder, it says, okay, we don't see that texture name, but we do see this texture name, so we're going to use this texture name. So basically it's like else use this. So basically if it can't find that texture, it'll look for this texture. And this is how you get that to show up. Now you'll have to make your own textures, and then you have to set several textures for the mob. You have to have its original texture, then you have to have its death texture, and then you have to have its butchered texture. Now a lot of the butchered texture is basically certain creatures. Okay, a lot of creatures use this generic, this butchered generic 1.wom, which is that little, like, looks like a bunch of little bones and flesh in a pyramid. That's the generic one, and a lot of people use that over, they use that a lot. Code Club uses that a lot on a lot of the creatures, except for certain creatures like spiders, wolves. Certain creatures they didn't give that texture to. They actually created a model and a texture for the carcass. But a lot of them that don't actually have their own, they all use this default one right here. And basically you'll just want to have that texture, that model, in that folder. And you'll want to call it wherever it's at here, and then you can use this right here to say, okay, I want to use this texture instead of the default that's built into, that's actually written into the model here. So we call the wolf map. And that's basically what you do. When you go to creating banners and stuff like that, you get into that stuff too, and I'll show you a brief description of that real quick in here. It's like floor tiles. You know, as you can see here, I'm calling floor.dae. I'm calling floor, which is the material ID in, you know, the model, and then I'm going to replace it with this name right here, and this is the texture it would call. But where is my banners? Okay, yeah, like banners. As you can see here, instead of calling this banner, I'm sitting here and I'm saying else cloth, which this cloth is the material ID in the model, and I'm calling texture banner 12, banner 13, so forth. But that's how you put your textures in the mapping.txt. You know, you got to have it here, and you always need this. In item template creator, you're looking for the material name, which will have this little string right here, and then I'll have this extra little piece of name at the end. And for creatures, it's pretty much the same thing, except for you have to have like 3, and what you're looking for is this piece of information right here, this string, this model string name. Other than that, yep, that's pretty much it. Did I miss anything? Let's see here. Bury corpses. You wanted to know about burying corpses. Okay. So, to actually write that code in, and you can change the names and all, you just got to give me a minute to remember where it's at. Let me open up my recent project because I actually have it in there. I think this is it. I'll go back to the project in a minute. I want to show you that you might want to do this for your... Go on, Natasha, go lay down. You might want to do this for fixing your creature database, because I'll show you that real quick in this video as well. So basically, right here... Hold on a minute. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so was it here? Nope. Okay, so what you want to do is go to your behaviors and open up your corpse behavior. In here, basically, you want to go down to bury, your bury method. In here you want to basically, right here as you can see, I've added some lines of code, and let's see, yeah, so basically right here I'm putting in this server message right here, my own little message telling it to put 3, that's depositing 3 coins, but that's not where it's put at. Let me see here. Okay, so yeah, basically right here, you're not going to see this right here. This line of code right here is what I added in. And basically, I'm telling the performer here at the almost at the end, I have to tell it to basically add money and money to add, and I'll put how much I want here. So I wanted 3 copper per corpse, so I put 300, and which stands for 3 copper. And then right here you'll have to add a catch. Once you add this extra line, it's going to want another catch to catch exception to catch right here. So basically I added this catch right here. And that's pretty much it. You know, you just add this one little piece of code right here, and then you have to add this catch line to catch if this fails or whatnot. So once you add this, IntelliJ, once you add this line right here, it should give you the option to automatically add the catch. Just let it add the catch, and it'll throw it right down here at the very bottom. And then it won't give you this information right here. You might want to add this yourself, but remember your exception variable has to be the same here at the end. And basically I just tell it to log the log in the level info, and this is the message I'm going to send, and it's exception variable 10. So yeah, once you add this and you add this little piece right here, if you want to add a descriptive string once they bury the corpse, you can add those right here. As you can see, I got one on each line. So if any one of these right here, you can see the Big Nasty deposits 3 copper. So basically when they do it, it says the Big Nasty deposited 3 copper coins in your bank for keeping the server clean. So I give them a little message and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it, adding a coin to a corpse when you bury it. See, this is the best way to go, because I'll explain, there is an issue if you try to create a mission with it. I created missions, and then when I found out the glitch in the mission system, I had to remove it and put it in this way. This is the better way to do it. I did try to not mod it in and just use the mission, but what happens is the mission system doesn't have a check, and it would take even more coding to fix that issue than it does just to add, you know, this catch and this one little line right here. It would take even more coding just to fix the issue from the mission ruler. And basically what happens is, in the mission ruler, if you add bury and bury all, and you add the coins to the mission ruler and everything, and you can create the mission to bury corpses and everything, but you have to create 2. You have to create one for bury and one for bury all. But then the problem happens when you take a corpse inside a mine shaft underneath the earth and you try to bury it with a shovel. You fail burying it with a shovel, but the system still rewards the coin to you. It does not fail, period. And there's no way to get it to fail. So someone could just spam bury the corpse and just keep collecting how much ever copper you give for burying a corpse. They could just keep collecting it and spam the hell out of it. So it's not the way you want to go. You would actually want to go into corpse behavior and add this one little performer.add money line, and then add its catch and be done with it. And if you want, like I said, you can go up here to these statements here, and you can add your own little statement for it to report every time they bury a corpse. Give them a little message. One thing I want to talk to you, as you can see, I use the creature template creator and the spawn table. Even though I'm not modding my server anymore, I mod 4 files. Corpse so people can get money, creature template creator so they can get butcher money. Then I used the creature entry creator, and that was so I could add the shoulder pads, because that wasn't on the server. And then the other thing, basically the creature template creator, not only did it help me put butchered coin in, but it also, I can set my percentages of my mobs that I want to spawn on the map. But the main one you want to always do is the spawn table, and I'll explain a little bit here on this one real quick. In the spawn table here, I think I've done a video on how to add to this spawn table. Use the original spawn table. Do not create your own. Because it's, you know, for some reason it doesn't work right. It'll get part of your mobs, it won't get all of them. But if you put your stuff inside their spawn table, everything will work properly. But the one thing you want to realize is down here at the bottom of the lava, there's a problem. The lava spider and the lava fiend. You'll notice in the spawn table, they're not here. On the original, it shows, and I'll pull that up real quick, and this is in zones, just so you'll see real quick what I'm talking about. The problem that they have here is, and I've got it bugged, so hopefully they'll fix it. Down here at the bottom you can see under the lava tiles, it's set to spawn lava spider multiple and lava creature single. Lava spider multiple is a multiple of 10. So every time it tries to spawn a lava spiders on a lava tile, it's going to spawn 10 of them, because that's how many is set to spawn for this one right here, lava spider multiple. It's set to spawn 10. So, and you can find that out further up top of this code on this page. But basically, every time it would spawn, it'll spawn 10, and every time it spawns a lava creature, they both have a 10% chance to spawn. And the problem with it is, and then you got down here again on lava tile ID, and the negatives one, which is, I think one's above ground, one's below ground, something like that. I can't remember exactly what those are for. I'd have to look up there. I think it's above and below ground, but basically you got lava creature single spawning here again. The problem with the lava creatures is they're not immune to lava damage. So if you have volcanoes on your map, you have a memory leak, and the reason you have a memory leak is because, you know, it's spitting out lava spiders in 10 packs of 10 on lava tiles. The lava spiders and the lava fiends, I had noticed that once they spawn, they can't move off the square that they're on, so they just die on it, and it takes only a few seconds for them to die out. And once they're dead, that's a corpse. Hold on a minute. Okay, sorry for the interruption. But basically, what happens is, you know, these guys are spawning. They're almost instant dying within like 60 seconds, and then, you know, your system's going to keep trying to spawn them and spawn them and spawn them and spawn them, and you know it takes a lot longer for that corpse to decay. And the one thing I had noticed was in my volcanoes, when I created several volcanoes, was that I had tons and tons of lava spiders spawning and lava fiends spawning, but they kept dying, and they died like within 60 seconds after they'd spawn. And so basically, once, you know, I figured that's what it was happening, was, you know, they were dying in the volcanoes. So I go to the volcanoes, and I have hundreds of corpses laying all in the volcanoes of lava fiends and lava spiders, and they keep spawning and dying. And you have to realize how much memory all those objects are taking up. So it's one thing you'll definitely want to play with the spawn table. Come in here, recreate the spawn table, and remove this and remove this off the lava tiles. You definitely want to take these out. Something else you might want to do is, when you go through here on the spawner table here under these IDs, okay, when we get to here and we start telling what mobs we want to spawn on these tiles, you'll notice certain mobs are not here. So it's like the seal. If you wonder why the seal ain't spawning enough, as I went through here, I haven't seen the seal, and this is the original file right here of the spawn table. I don't see the seal at all on any of these tiles to spawn. I don't see the seal. I see the tortoise and the crab, and they're told to spawn on sand, and then again I don't see them anywhere else. The anaconda was told to spawn on marsh and rats. But when you look through here, you know, you're not going to see the seal. So basically, when you go to mine, you will see over here that I put seal pair under on the clay ID, and I might have them somewhere else, you know, near water. But just putting them, you know, just putting the seal on clay tiles, I have seals on my map now. So basically, when you don't have seals, that's one reason why we don't have seals in Worm Unlimited. Apparently, they never added them to, you know, a tile class for them to spawn. So they don't spawn, because this is the spawn table, and this tells, you know, what mobs that spawn on what type of tile. And since the seal was never added, they don't spawn. So if you want to make sure certain seals, and like if you want skeletons and goblins, you'll have to add them to these tile classes. But remember, they're not added in this list right here. You'll have to look through this list for all the mobs that are actually in this list. And this list goes to right where tile grass ID is. And basically, if the mobs ain't there, you'll have to add them here. As you can see here, I added the goblin wasn't added. Zombie, no, I think the goblin was added. I think I went here. Zombie, skeleton, warg, hyena, gorilla, and unicorn. So even the unicorn ain't even there. I actually had to add the unicorn because it ain't on the original spawn table. But basically, you get the idea. You know, you add your creatures here, and once they're added up here in this list of stuff up here, then you can call them down here, and you can call them on the tiles you want them on. And yeah, I did right here on sand. So I got them on sand and clay. I got the seal spawning, the seal pair, which stands for the seal. Anacondas are spawning better because I not only have them on sand, I have them on other tiles. Looks like I actually on the tile rock ID I put seal also on those through lava creatures up there. You know, you can add them in different tiles and get those creatures that ain't spawning to spawn better. And if you don't see the tile type here, all you got to do is create it and make it. That's all you got to do is, you know, add your code in to create the tile, and then start putting your creatures under that tile. But you need two main things when you do it, which is this right here, this line, which you'll call the tile ID, and then you need this little line right here where it says add tile type steep. That's so you can call this name right here steep. As you can see, each one of these methods has this. Mycelin ground, mycene ground. This is mycelin ground, which is mycelin. So basically, in order to call that, you can see it's highlighted in green right here. So you'll want this line and you'll want this line. You don't need this line right here. You don't need this at all, because that's for challenge server. Unless you have a challenge server, then you can add other mobs on the challenge server and stuff. But that's pretty much it. Hopefully this video helped you out quite a bit with the template creature, the corpses, you know, adding to the bury, and just refresh. You just need that line right there and this exception catch. And then on a creature template creator, you can create your own array and put it up here to make it nice and neat, or you can just put all this stuff right here in the array that would be right here. You got to remember that mobs don't stretch as much. There is a limit to how much they'll stretch and how much they'll shrink. And then you have to also take in consideration that mobs have random sizes. I don't remember offhand which class the sizes are in, but mobs do have excuse me, it's either 5 or 6 different size classes, and basically they get randomly chosen between one of those, and those are based off of, I think it was these sizes right here, because this right here is X, Y, and Z coordinates right here. So based off of this piece of information that has been set, if these numbers hit a certain thing, let me see, let me go up here, where's the dragons at? Seeing dragons would be a lot easier to verify this. Come on, dragons, where you at? Um, and I'll tell you one more thing here in a minute. I can't find it, but where you at? Okay, Mr. Sharky here. The shark. Don't ever even worry about this group max. Well, not that. Don't ever worry about setting a max percent of creatures or a max count. See, with the blue whale's default is 3 whales on the entire map. That's it. That's all that's on there, and that's why you never have more than 3 whales, because it was max population of creature was set to 3, so I put mine at 300. But when it comes to the shark, don't worry about the shark. It'll always be 500. There's like 3 or 4 methods you have to change that number in. Otherwise, it's actually hard coded in another class for the shark to spawn 500 on the map. Period. So no matter if you were to set a max creature here under the shark, under the creature template, it would never go by it. That was one thing I learned, that it was actually hard-coded elsewhere to always spawn 500 sharks. So unless you go over and change those 3 or 4 methods where it's mentioned, it's all in the same class. I just don't remember which one it's off of. Unless you go over there and change it there, yeah, they're going to constantly spawn 500. So I wouldn't even worry about setting max population or max percentage of creatures here, because it's not going to go by it when it comes to sharks. The shark is hard-coded in another class file. But other than that, yep, if you need any more information, just let me know.